Joe Wind here. Another great rant. This one's about the obesity hysteria. Yes. Well, I must confess, I'm a fat person. I weigh 315 pounds. I actually gained 100 pounds in the 9 years I worked at a for-profit psychiatric hospital on the graveyard shift, keeping myself going with the caffeine and the sugar in Coca-Cola. I drank 2 liters of Coke every night. I worked 6 shifts a week to make enough money to keep my family going. I would go home and have a big meal and then go to sleep. Goodness gracious, I gained 100 pounds. Most of my kids are fatties, struggling with their weight. Let's see if we can have some sanity here. That would be nice. Sanity is not a commodity we find very much. That's why I call it the obesity hysteria. Now in the 80s there was an hysteria, that is a kind of group madness, when it came to the news that certain caregivers of children, getting a Kleenex here, may have abused their children in their care. So, all the caregivers of children, the private caregivers of children, and uncles and aunts and grandmas and grandfathers, and even fathers of children started to be looked at. Oh my goodness, you could be a pervert. You should stop hugging that child. They even forced teachers to stop hugging the children in school. Poor children, no more hugs. That was followed by the sex abuse of girls hysteria. That's when a whole bunch of people wrote books saying that if a girl was anorexic or bulimic or had these, and they'd give you a list of the different things that were wrong with the child or the teenager or the late adolescent or even the 20-something who was having troubles with their diet, they would go to an MA in psychology, and the next thing you would know, oh, recovered memories. The father did it. Nobody wants to be responsible for their own behaviors, of course. So we had an hysteria. It lasted for some time, destroyed all kinds of families. About 10 years into it, Sally Jesse Raphael, who was a big talk show host in the early 90s, got on her show and apologized for having contributed to the hysteria and being one of the people that went around saying, oh my God, the sky is falling, all these fathers are abusing these young girls, when it was discovered that the recovered memory syndrome was a lot of crap. And on this show she had one of the chief officers of the American Medical Association, the head of the psychiatric group, apologizing for their poor oversight of MAs in psychology, who were the ones giving all these diagnoses of father abuse to these young women. So let's not act like our nation isn't susceptible to hysteria epidemics. But of course, last night on the news, which is what prompted this rant, it was announced that the obesity epidemic is growing. Now, it seems to me that the word epidemic generally means something like a bug got loose and everybody's catching it. Now, is there an obesity bug that's being passed around? I don't think so. Well, what else could it be? I mean, good grief. Something's going on. There are a lot of fat people. And there's a lot of fat people in America. Well, I hate to tell you folks, but your doctors and the American Medical Association are way behind the curve on understanding nutrition and nutritional problems. They're like in the 19th century still. And they don't want to pay attention to the people in the self-help healthcare work, because my goodness, they don't have an MD after their name. Which when I was working at the psychiatric hospitals, the nurses said means major deity, because the doctor likes to display his authority even though he doesn't know shit. Okay? So what's going on here? Well, like in my last rant, follow the money. Pharmaceutical companies are gearing up and already putting on the market little pills that'll make you lose weight. Some of these things are awful. They basically consist of artificial caffeines that if you take a lot of it makes you crap a lot. And of course, if you happen to have a tendency to some kind of problem with your gut, this just makes your gut problem worse. This is not good medicine. This is prank medicine designed to make a profit. Now, the industry that makes a lot of money off this situation, or is planning to make a lot of money off this situation, is the health insurance industry. Where do they make the money? Well, they make their money by being able to find a reason to deny coverage for people who are fat if they have a heart problem, because they'll say, oh, well, the reason you have a heart problem is because you're fat. Well, we know that's not true. Now, what's the basis, the logical causality basis on the arguments that make this causes that in medicine? Well, they're called epidemiological studies, and what they consist of is statistics. Now, what's the folk wisdom about statistics? Well, there's lies, then there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. You can make statistics show anything. Literally, you can. It's about how you ask the questions, what questions you ask around it, and then how you analyze it, and what stuff you leave out. Now, the fact is, as people age, they get older, they tend to have multiple aging problems. So it's easy to find that fat people also get heart attacks, smokers also get heart attacks, etc., etc. There's no well-developed science that says there's a causal relation. There's just statistical studies, and what they don't tell you when they put this stuff on the news is they don't give you the raw data. They don't tell you what percent of this and what percent of that. I can remember the shock in the world when this big guy who was promoting healthy eating and jogging and running and stuff like this died at 40. He had a heart attack. Oh my goodness. That would suggest that heart attacks have to do with other things besides exercise and diet. All right, what's the big secret? What's the thing they don't want you to know? Well, it goes like this. The food we eat is terrible. There's no nutrition in it. People are hungry because they're starving. The food is crap. Okay? Now you can look this up on the internet and find this stuff. I'm just going to give you some hints. There's also a thing called body types, ectomorphs, endomorphs, whatever. Those people with the fat body type tend to have a metabolism that takes sugars and stores them as fats if you eat excess sugars. Now, if you're a minority and you live in the inner city, guess what? Not only is there no real grocery store in your neighborhood, it's all convenience stores which sell you sugars and fats. Think about it. The obesity hysteria, not an obesity epidemic, and we're being sold a load of crap.